Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Clan Wren and Inferno Squad for Star Wars Legion. What's going on with this? Now, before I dive too deep into this, let me go ahead and remind you guys there's still time left to enter to win the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. That's going to be running for a couple more days. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment. It's as simple as that. We'll typically announce winners towards the end of my videos. So stay tuned. It's going to be coming out in the next couple of days, so you'll just have to watch with a keen eye, and you probably want to watch till the end of most videos. But a little bit of admin stuff too before I jump too far into this. I also want to just thank patrons. One thing, I usually talk about this at the end of my videos, but I really want to thank patrons. And if you guys do want to help support the channel, there's a lot of different ways to do that, but Patreon is a fantastic way to do it. We've got giveaways running all the time on Patreon, as well as a lot of other patron specific rewards like access to a special Discord channel and the ability to get customized feedback, or the ability to have your name at the end of the videos, as well as be able to enter to win extra additional giveaways for promos and different things like that. So right now there's a Clone Wars Legion core set that's going up, and that's running all throughout this month. Plus there'll be some more things going on there. And it's a great way to support the channel. If you don't want to do that, there's also shirts and other links in social media. If you want to follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, sometimes I might do giveaways on there as well as just, it's just nice to kind of spread out a little bit. And we also did just launch the Double Critical podcast, so you can also find us now on Podbean. Sean and I are doing that. It's kind of like a little side project, but maybe I'll put a link to that at the end of the video as well. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about Clan Wren. So Clan Wren and Inferno Squad, you may have seen this image floating around on Facebook. I figured I would talk about it because, it's still a leak. It's not confirmed, but it really does synergize with what we have seen already from some recent leaks. A big bunch of leaks that came out last month from France, and they pretty much all turned out to be true. I think the only things outside of these two that weren't 100% shown yet with the stab, we haven't seen the stab show up yet, but we did see hover air and like the keywords that seem to go along with it in the rules reference update, and then that Republic ATRT, although the box art for that was actually floating around too. But yeah, this is the other two things that were floating around here, and I think they're worth really talking about because they look pretty interesting. So Clan Wren and Inferno Squad, the Rebels and the Imperials, each getting new units, presumably Special Forces, maybe. We're not really too sure, and we've seen this before, so this isn't the first time talking about Clan Wren or Inferno Squad, so that's kind of why I felt it was okay to kind of make a video talking about it, since everybody's talking about it anyway. So what could they be? I think the predominant theory right now that, since I've talked to people about this, is that maybe they're a limited unit expansion. So maybe a unique Special Forces expansion, something like that. I mean, we kind of have seen some uniques with Special Forces before, like in the way that they did, Rebel Pathfinders, for example, or the Death Troopers you have the unique heavy weapon. But maybe this is a unit that the entire unit is unique. And now if so, that's really interesting to me because it doesn't sound like a very good moneymaker for Fantasy Flight. And of course that shouldn't be what drives all of the decision making. But at a certain point, I wonder how they're going to do this, because let's just say Inferno Squad, is a unique, there's only one Inferno Squad and you have them and that you can't have two. Well, nobody would buy more than one. Right. Well, what would be the incentive to buy more than one? And and of course, I guess you could say that's certainly the case with individual unit commanders, because certainly there's no reason to have more than one Leia commander expansion, right? Or Han Solo commander expansion, unless of course maybe you want to do alternate paint jobs for them. But those are smaller, cheaper expansions. But this is a bigger box. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how these are going to work, because they look certainly like bigger boxes than Commander expansions. So I presume it'll probably be somewhere around a $25 expansion. It really kind of depends on how many minis they could decide to go ahead and put in here. But I'm really curious if there's not going to be maybe something else that comes into here to maybe make some people want to buy additional copies. I'm really curious, the marketing strategy with something that, if my guess is right in their unique expansion, that if you can only buy one, I just that's interesting to me. And I mean, I suppose there's really nothing wrong with that, but it's just a kind of a surprise, if it's some outside of the box kind of unit design, outside of the box, even though it's in a box. So, and again, I could be wrong. They might not be unique. You could say that after Inferno Squad had their run, maybe there was another Inferno Squad. Maybe there were multiple Inferno Squads, and we only really knew about the one. Clan Wren, I think, could be easier to have more than one instance of, because, well, it's like a family, an extended family tree, so you could, in theory, have a lot of people. We only saw so many on screen, and I'll talk about that a little bit, but first, let me talk about Inferno Squad. Now, there are only 4 members of Inferno Squad. I guess 5 if you count Dio, Iden Versio's droid. But I feel like this is just going to be a small pack. And I feel like at most you'll have 3 characters. Now, you already got Iden Versio coming out with Dio. So that really just leaves Del Meeko, who's here on the right, and then Gideon Hask, who's here on the left. They're pretty much the main stars of Star Wars Battlefront 2. There is also a 4th member of Inferno Squad, Sane Marana. Sane was featured in the Inferno Squad book, but you do not see her in the Battlefront 2 game. So I'm going to give a minor spoiler here. So close your ears for like 2 seconds. She dies in the book. Okay. But yeah, so there's a 4th member. Still a great book, regardless of that fact. But there's at most it was ever a 4-person squad. So, you really are going to have a hard time trying to fit that into the normal, the workspace that Legion units tend to see right now. So, if it is this Inferno Squad, first off, you lose Iden Versio because she's already got her commander expansion. Or do you have Iden Versio in Inferno Squad? And maybe that's one way to run Inferno Squad, is with Iden as just a squad member as opposed to being a commander. I feel like they wouldn't want to do that, though, because like coming out in close proximity, well, now I don't want to buy the Iden Versio commander because I want to run her in Inferno Squad. I'm not sure, maybe there will be an option for you to run her with them. Similarly, maybe there will be an option for you to run Sabine with Clan Wren. Like, that would kind of make sense, although I feel like it might be asynchronous, like an asymmetrical type of release, whereas the Rebels and the Empire get very different things. And I would like to see that. I would really like to see the Rebels and the Empire start to get things that aren't just like, neck and neck and neck, because I feel like that's the problem with like a game that started out with only 2 factions that's now added 2 more. Like, you look at the Republic and the CIS, they're getting very different things. Look at the B2s versus the Phase 2s. Like, very, very different in a number of ways, which is cool. They're not direct counterparts to one another. Now, the tanks are pretty kind of symmetrical. Obviously, they have their slight differences, but those are for the most part the same way that kind of the Rebels and the Empire kind of have that symmetry. But other stuff with those new Clone Wars factions are definitely asymmetrical. I would love it if the Rebels and the Empire were to become a little bit more asymmetrical. Now, we saw a little bit of that, I guess, maybe when Palpatine and Chewbacca came out, because those were, way different. And so you saw, like kind of a departure of builds and playstyles and, I guess, what you would call faction identity with those releases. So I think that's kind of cool. And I'd love for this to be another case where they just do very, very different things between these 2 releases. Now, there have been some people that complain. Let me go back a little bit. Inferno Squad here, some people complain, like, why do we have pilots on the ground? Well, if you're not familiar with Inferno Squad, I definitely suggest you check out Star Wars Battlefront 2, because it's actually a pretty cool game. It has a really, I think, an enjoyable single-player campaign experience. The game itself is actually cool, and it has a ton of free content, a ton of new content that's come out. Like, if the game were to have come out today with all of the stuff that it now has, it would have been received way differently, because it's got a ton of content now. Now, it's been out for a long time, still has great graphics, and I still play it once in a while. I haven't played it lately. I know they've had a huge patch not too long ago. I think the last time I played it was maybe 2 months ago. So maybe it's time for me to revisit it. But the point is, Iden Versio was introduced in Battlefront 2, but she has shown up in a lot of other things. She's played by the amazing Janina Gavankar, and I think she's one of my favorite characters to come into the Star Wars canon. Since Disney has taken over, I adore Janina. And I really, really like the Battlefront 2 story. I really like the Iden Versio character, and I am definitely a fan. That's, I'm instantly sold on Inferno Squad. I'm instantly sold on Iden Versio as a commander. I got the audiobook. Janina Gavankar actually read the audiobook, did a stellar job with it. So, I'm all over that. That's great. But, look, you see 3 people on the box art. And you see 2 people on the box art for Clan Wren, and I wonder if that's not indicative of what you're going to see inside. So my guess is that the Inferno Squad box is going to have Del Meeko, Gideon Hask, and Sain Marana. Okay, 3 people. Possibly a way to incorporate Iden Versio into Inferno Squad, or if not, then just mechanics that make them work well with Iden Versio. In the same vein that Rebel Pathfinders work well with Jin and also Cassian, right, and K2SO. All of that stuff kind of just is synergistic, and they synergize with each other. I expect if you can't put Iden into Inferno Squad directly, then she'll be able to lead them and command them very, very well and very efficiently. It might be really, really fun. But really, all I can do is do very vague speculation just based on what I know of Inferno Squad. And it will be interesting if they kind of make this into some kind of counterpart thing where each individual character has their own stats, because they were all very different. Sain Marana was kind of like your tech hacker type expert. You're the brains of the unit. Del and Gideon were, Del was the good guy, Gideon was the bad guy, right? Gideon was more of the Imperial loyalist, and Del was more of the relatable White Knight type character. And I think Del was a little bit funny too. It's been a while since I've read the book, but and of course Iden's your stone cold, all serious, all business leader that eventually has a crisis of conscience. And it's just really their story is really cool, and I enjoy it. And of course, it's Janina's portrayal of Iden Versio that really kind of sold all of it for me. So, definitely looking forward to this unit. I'm just really curious to see how they're going to do it. Let's move on to Clan Wren, because this one is going back to the box art. We see 2 figures with jetpacks. So that's initially one thing that you're going to see that's different, because Inferno Squad is not known to fly. So I initially see 2 things that jump out at me as being asymmetric. 3 people in this unit versus 2 people in the other unit? Maybe. Or maybe that's just the box art. It doesn't mean... We have no idea what's inside. But there's a reason why I think it might be 2 people, maybe way more than that. Maybe Inferno Squad is unique. Maybe Clan Wren is not unique. Maybe you can run the whole extended family. That would be another really cool asymmetric thing. So let's talk about Clan Wren, because I am going to reference some Star Wars Rebels and just kind of get all rebelsy, because we're going to talk a little bit about Season 4, Episode 1, Heroes of Mandalore. This is a great primer, so if you want to learn a little bit more about Clan Wren, check out, if you got Disney Plus, definitely check out Star Wars Rebels. Maybe watch the whole thing, but if you want to just jump to a good episode, check out Season 4, Episode 1, Heroes of Mandalore. There are tons. She's like, come on, Clan Wren, and they all jump out. Now, I'm a little unclear if every single Mandalorian featured in this episode, or at least at the first half or so of this episode, is a full-fledged member of Clan Wren, because when basically Clan Wren is Sabine's family, right? So she runs, and she, during the course of this episode, there's a couple of things that I think stand out. She meets her mother and brother. Now, they are obviously blood relatives, and they do fighting, and they are featured during this battle. But here's the key thing: her mother and brother have different colors on the armor. And those colors are pretty close to what we see here in the box art. So to me, that looks like her mom and her brother. I think that's exactly who that is. Their names escape me at the moment, but I guess that's not really the point. The fact is, rewatching this episode, I did it kind of on speed, not on speed. I did a quick rewatch, and it definitely looks like there's really just two that have this alternative color scheme that matches Clan Wren. At least as it's featured on the box art there. But you have all these other Mandalorians in the basic just black and white armor that maybe are unaffiliated. Or maybe they're like Clan Wren inductees, but they're not blood relatives. Or maybe like they're cousins. Or like my cousin married like a half Mandalorian. Can we bring them into the family? I'm like, oh, this guy was actually... Like, he was our neighbor for a really long time, but like we've known him forever. He let the dogs out when we went on vacation. He even picked up our mail and got that Amazon box. We'd like to bring him into the family too. Do we have some more Beskar? Can we make him some armor? Okay, you're now Clan Wren also, but you haven't earned your color yet, so we're just gonna keep you black and white. Thanks, neighbor. I don't know if it's like one of those deals. No, I'm getting a little carried away with some of my bizarre explanations, but but either way, both of those scenarios give me some different options for what we can expect from Clan Wren. Clan Wren could just be mom and brother. Could be a two miniature expansion. Maybe they're counterparts. Maybe I'm really curious to see how they're going to do this. Is it going to be a unit card that has no minis and you have to put counterparts on there? Something like that. I have no idea. But there's other Mandalorians featured in this same episode, too. You've got Clan Kryze, also, which shows up, and they have very distinctly different color patterns. So, very cool stuff. I'm really happy to be getting more stuff that's directly out of Star Wars Rebels, because I really, really want the Ghost crew. I really want Kanan and Ezra and Hera and Zeb and Chopper and all of that in Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka, grown up Ahsoka. I want grown Ahsoka. Yeah, I want Inquisitors. I want so much of this. Oh, and Thrawn, Grand Admiral Mithron Neurodo. I want all of that. So this is another step. I feel like Legion is going to be around for years and years and years. If we're only getting like one Rebels-based product a year, the more of it can't get here soon enough. And I really hope production and all of the chains start rolling. This be like a well-oiled machine soon, because I want all of the stuff from Rebels. I want to run the Ghost crew. I want to find a way to do it. It's exciting. So yeah, that's just me talking about this stuff. I'm really curious how it's going to look, how it's going to work out. I can't wait to see more. How many minis? I want to hear from you guys, though. How many minis do you think we're going to see in each box? Do you think Inferno Squad and Clan Wren are literally just the minis that we see on the box cover art? Do you think there's more than that? Maybe by the time this video gets published, we'll have more leaks. Maybe by the time this video goes up, there will be an article announcement, and then I'll have to play catch up. But I don't know. I'm excited about it. Let me know what you're excited. Let me know what you want to see. Do you think, that fact that Rebels are now going to be getting some jetpacks, do you think it's time for the Imperials to get Hey, in that same episode, Imperials had stormtroopers too. They had the jetpacks. Kanan was up there jumping around, bouncing off of them, whacking them with his lightsaber, knocking them out of the sky, showing off. I mean, oh my goodness, it's just insane. You had Fen freaking Rao would be awesome in this game. My heart's beating, and it's like I feel like I need to push up on the schedule because I wasn't planning on doing a sub factions episode of Double Critical Cast for a little while, but I feel like Double Critical Cast needs to kind of push sub-factions up into a more recent episode. So that might make the cut, and it might be in one of the first 5 episodes we do, because I feel like with Mandos now creeping in, it's more, we're getting closer and closer to the need for sub-factions. just can't wait to see. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Also, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and click on some of those links in the description for social media, or if you want to buy a shirt or support the channel on Patreon, you can do that as well. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.